Hey YouTube, I'm going to show you guys how I edit my videos. I feel like my process is in some ways unique, but I'm sure that a lot of other people use these methods. Programs I'm going to cover are any video converter free version, Windows Movie Maker, and Wax 2.0, which is a free special effects program. So first we need to convert our clips, so we'll open any video converter, and I'll power on my camera. And we will go ahead and add our video. Now, I'm following the settings for a video on YouTube to make the quality HD, but I'm altering what I need to. So, the codec needs to be XVID, the frame rate 180 by 720, your bit rate needs to be over 1500. I picked 2000 because it was the closest that I could get to 1500, because if it's really high, I think it'll take a longer time to save, and I don't want that. Okay. And then, the other thing, for audio options, you want 128 for the bit rate, and then, 44,100 for the sample rate, and then I don't think his version, which is the DVD ripper, had these settings. But you know, I have two channels for the audio, no audio disable on the audio track, so I just leave everything below the audio channel same as it is, and then of course quality high. But so the things that will change, everything stays the same except for this will go back to normal, and your frame rate 30 and everything, and this will go back to the times 264 or whatever it is. The other thing too, in his thing he was using a different codec, of course, because you need AVI with XVID for Wax 2.0, but his was also MP2, so I tried MP2 but I got errors. So let's see, folder should have opened, so we'll go here because it didn't. Close that out and eject our camera. Alright, there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this to a specific folder, because I have a special way of storing things. So oops. So I cut this. Now let me go to my folder, which we have on an external hard drive, which is where I keep most of my files. So under the clips folder, make a new folder, short for tutorial, and put my clip in here. Now what I put in the folder specific for each project is stuff that really only will be used for this project. Like the clips will most likely only be used for this project, and like the Windows Movie Maker files will only be used for this project. But if it's like a laser sound, then what I do is I put that under my sounds folder. Some of these are organized, but a lot of them aren't. So put them under there. And then one more thing about organizing that I do, I have a folder for my finished videos, and then subfolders for the different shows or specific things like montages. Same thing with here. I have different folders for different stuff here. Cooking with the Bazaar has its own folder, and then subfolders for the episode, which episode 2 will be coming out soon. And then one more thing about organization. The clips to upload folder does have specific folders. This is where I put things where it's meant to be like a one-take video, or, you know, and then, for these things, kind of like videos and stuff, If I do have to end up doing a little bit of editing, like cutting off beginning and end of the video, stuff like that, I usually won't keep the Movie Maker project files. I'll just trim it, save it, and get rid of the original video. Because ideally, I'd just like to push record, say what I want to say, push stop, upload it to YouTube, and not have to do any editing. So, now that we've got it in the right folder, we're first going to put it into Wax2.0, which you can download from debugmode.com, link in the description. Alright, so, you want to click the stack of, one person said it looks like a toothpicks and cheese, and take your video file. We were already in the right folder because I recorded this before. Now, Wax 2.0 doesn't handle audio. I've seen one thing where the guy went like this, took the first render marker, jiggled it around, drum roll, no audio. So, whoops, sorry. Yeah. So, I want to delete it. So, because of that, we don't want to trim off the beginning and end of our video. Also, this step right here varies a bit, because I haven't done this particular thing yet, but if a clip does end up being long enough, really long, then I'll put it through Movie Maker, cut out the sections that I want to add effects to, and put it in Wax 2.0, because it's best to work with smaller file sizes in Wax, smaller clips. So here's our clip. Now, I'm going to get some effects to put onto this clip. Whoops. Under my movie effects folder, I want, let's, oh, no, oh yeah, I want this one, and this one. Okay, so they're in here. Now, I'm going to drag this down too, so the effects will be on top of our video. And so I'm going to find the spot where I want the first effect. So, first of all, I'm going to trim it up a bit. So first, I want this right here. Whoops, wrong one. I want this. Much better. Put it on the spot where this starts. I'm going to hit the next frame button until I see that the logo is gone. And if there's no logo, you don't need to do this. So I'm going to trim it up just right. Now, I'm going to move it out of the way. And I'm going to skim through the video. I think right there looks good. I'm going to put the effect on. And then I'm going to go forward till the missile's on the screen. Then go to Video Plugins and Chroma Key. Then I'm going to drop down menu, click the black. Then I click on the tolerance and use the arrow keys to adjust it so it looks good. That looks good. Next, above that chroma key, I want to put Quick 3D. Now I'm going to scale this down, double click, and I'm going to go start with 0.500. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, I'm going to rotate. Now, when you're doing this, the important thing, you have to make sure that the size of your effect video and the size of your new video, your footage, are exactly the same. So that if they're HD, they have to be both 180 by 720. Otherwise, you'll get a problem where one's video is smaller, so the black area gets rotated and you have a black spot going across here. And then you pretty much are limited on what you can do, so they have to be the same. So now I'm going to do Rotate Z just by clicking and dragging until it looks good. I think that looks good. Now, we're probably going to be moving the position a bit. So, first of all, what I want to do, I'm going to go back till there's the first of the missile. And I'm going to set this to best quality, full up here, so I can zoom in a bit and see things closer. Now, I'm going to take my position X and alter it. And this is, once I get it close, I just kind of play around with it, because I want it so that the end is just barely off the screen. And now I'll alter my Y position. Actually, I'm going to change the X position to, okay, 270 it is. Alright, now, okay, so as you can see right here, it's not hitting the ground, but the next frame, it's already kind of disappearing. So what I want to do now is make my position X and position Y linear by clicking on the stopwatch. Now, if you're going to be altering the rotation and stuff during various times of the video for like motion tracking is what we're doing, then you're going to need to make those linear. You can do smooth, but I've heard it has problems. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to bring it down. So I'm just going to that looks good. And if you wanted to hit farther back, you just make it smaller. I'm going to start and bring it down shorter. So now, if we go back, so that looks pretty good right there. And now, here's where I want to come in with my explosion. So I'll close this out, go back to our media pool, and put our fire burst. Now another thing too, if you get it in the spot that you want, but you still have to trim it off, the nice thing is, watch this. So I put it on the spot that I want, I go forward, just until it disappears. And when I drag this shorter, as you'll see, the render marker doesn't move to the timeline marker doesn't move to where the mouse is, but it also shows how long the video originally was. So I can put this back on the spot where I want it. But usually it's best just to trim off the logo, then find the spot, and then put it in. So I'll drag that there. And again, I'll go forward till I have the larger part of the explosion on. Go to Video Plugins, drag down the Chroma key, drop down menu, pick black, and click on the tolerance, and trim it, or change it up and down the quarter. I'd say that right there, that looks good. And then, now we need our Quick 3D, same spot again, but for a fire burst. Now this one, we don't need to resize, we just need to move the position. So, I'm going to go back in frames till our explosion is just barely there, so I know where the center of it is, and I can see it right, whoops. Actually, that looks pretty good. And just watching this, I can see there's a big quality improvement between this and how the program rendered the mothership pick my neighborhood. I was using ULEAD Video Studio at that time. So, we're basically done here. So, if you need to, you can save the project right here for later editing with this. We're going to go ahead and project settings, pick this spot, then go to clips, put it in the tutorial folder. This comes in handy for later on when we do layers, relabeling as explode effects. Now, you need to put .avi at the end, otherwise it won't render. Oh, one more thing too. You can type in HD quality here. When I've done it, that would be 280 by 720, I think. but it saved really slow and it didn't work right. There's one more thing I haven't tried for HD quality, but if I try it and it works, I'll let you guys know. But the quality will still look decent when we're done. So we'll go ahead and click OK, and click the green arrow to render. I'll go ahead and get Windows Movie Maker open while we're waiting for this to save. Now, another thing, when you shoot your clips, a thing that all filmmakers do, or if you don't, you should, is you film all your shots in one location, and then move to the next one and film all the shots there. For me, I try and film them in as close to the correct order as possible. So, if my first shot's in the park, I'm going to film all the shots in the park first, and then go to the next location. Okay, now that we're done, I won't be editing this again, so I'll just close this out, and no, I'm not going to save this. Next, what I want to do is, I want to, add a video, and I'll go to the spot where it is on here. Now, this is where we get into sound layers. Because Wax didn't have sound, and I do want the original audio, I am also going to import the original clip. And this is also why we didn't trim it down. So we put it down there, and it's matched up. So we'll just take a look at this. Sounds like Movie Maker is, yeah, it's being slow on us right now. Here we go. Yeah. You will see me, don't worry. It's not a problem with Wax. See, there we go. So, Movie Maker is just being slow. Okay. Alright, now, we are going to go ahead, we're going to save this. So, you want to go to File, Publish Movie, not use the one over here, because sometimes it doesn't show HD settings. So, click Next for this computer. This becomes our sound layer 1. And, we're going to go ahead and pick a different spot right here. Because SL stands for sound layer. Click Next. More settings. Then we want HD 180 by 720 and publish. Now, I think there's an AVI setting in here. I haven't used it, but if I do end up doing, like I said before, where I go in here and I trim out the section I need to add effects to, then I'd just go back and I'd convert it with this program here. And so, for Wax to work, of course, like I said, you have to do exactly like I said, because it's a very picky program. And okay, now that we're done, now, since I'm not going to be editing this again, you can save this right here, but I usually don't. So we're on a new project, and we'll go ahead and we'll not save it. Alright, so now we're going to go and we're going to import our Explode Sound Layer 1, and we'll preview it because it should play better saved as is a thing here. Here we go. We'll do full screen for you guys. It looks pretty sweet, huh? But it soundless. So, next what I do is I add my sound effects. So, first of all, we're going to go looking for that mist. Kind of can't see, but I'd say it starts right there. So, we will go ahead and we'll put our first effect down. Now, do another time on our bit. That's good. So, But then, with Windows Movie Maker, I'll just show you here. Bring our explosion down. You can't have two effects on the same spot. You can have them before, after, or blend in, but they can't be on exactly the same spot. So, you want to cram in as many sound effects as you can. As you see, there's kind of silence after the missile sound. So, I'm going to trim this up, zoom in as much as possible. And I don't know why they put the sounds there, but yeah. And then we're going to have some faded in here. I'm going to take this forward a few frames. And you want to avoid fading as much as possible. Well, we'll go ahead and preview this. See if it sounds good. But that's what I do, and I cram in as many effects as I can. Okay, as you can see, that was off. But let's take this forward some and preview it again. See how that sounds. Okay, so judging by the way this is turning out, I think I'm gonna have two sound layers, because that's usually what I end up having, not including the other sound layer. So I'm just gonna undo a whole bunch and make sure this looks good. Okay, so we want to go save again. Becomes our second sound layer. Next, more settings, HD. And then we go ahead and we let it save. And if I could fit these into one sound layer, I would. But yeah, Windows Movie Maker can't do that. So that's why you have to have sound layers. And I recommend saving all your sound layers. But since I'm not editing this again, I'm not going to. The other thing too is if you want to make most of your changes in the bottom sound layer, because you'll have problems. Like an example is from A Gummy Bear's Life. What I did, I had some things that needed changing, but I changed them in the second sound layer because it takes time to save each layer. And then I ended up forgetting to mute one audio track and have the new audio track playing. So it's best to make all your changes in the very first sound layer, not the one where you put your original audio in there, unless of course you did like the titles and credits in there too. But usually I'll do that, and then I'll do all my titles, credits, and overlays that I need for text, and then my first set of sound effects. New project, no. And then you guys get the idea. You go to videos, and we import sound layer 2. Put sound layer 2 on. Okay, go ahead and zoom in. Okay, then we take our explosion sound, put it right on there, and then I'm going to skip forward until the explosion is done. Right there. We'll go ahead. We'll split the clip. And we'll do fade out. Delete the end portion. Do a little test. Sounds great. Now, again, we're going to save. And becomes SO3. You can see how this becomes kind of a tedious and long process. And that's one thing I've found. With movie editing, it's pretty easy to get the controls down, but the process is very long and tedious, and that's ultimately what deters some people. It's not that it's complex to learn the controls. And as you can see, as you're going along, it gets a little bit faster to save. kind of few things to compile together and stuff. And we're almost, here we go. Alright, same thing again. But remember, if you're doing a full project that you're going to keep and edit later on, you do want to save. But since I'm not saving this, I'm not going to. Now this becomes our music layer. You always do the music last because it's easier to adjust the music instead of having to go back into the other layers and change the sound effects because they're too loud. So, drag this down here. And then I already have 2 songs that I'm going to do here. So I put this down here. And then I want to trim this up so it ends where the video ends. Do a fade out. And we'll do a test. Whoops. I forgot to trim up the video. So, go ahead and zoom in. Final test. Now, there is a bit of time before I run on the screen. That's because I want the music to last long enough, because we're already a really short 8-second clip. So, then again, same thing. But this, usually I put this in my finished videos folder. Oops. Sorry. But I'm going to go ahead and stick it in the tutorials folder because I don't really need it. Explode final, and then I get rid of the final on YouTube. And more settings. Publish. And then I'm going to save. And then I'm going to try one more variation after this. And I will upload that and see what you guys think of it with different music. So, that's it for this video and how I edit my videos. And I will see you guys later.